Anyway, they've all, people ask me these days, would I mind a job like Trevor Brookings? Well, I must admit I wouldn't mind it. There he is, Trevor. Marvellous, you know, football's been his love and his life, and of course now he gets paid for watching it and talking about it, but has he really made it? I mean, his ecstasy, climbing a ladder in Oldham on a cold January night, getting onto a platform made out of scaffolding, sitting under a blanket for 2 hours with John Motson. You know, I mean, is that what you call having it made? I suppose when you think about it, there are alternatives. Instead of being up there on that platform, you could be in a cosy, warm studio talking about the game with somebody like Jimmy Hill. In which case you'd be straight back up the bloody ladder. But I was at a dinner with Jimmy Hill a couple of weeks ago in London, and I can tell you now, ladies and gentlemen, there's nothing wrong with your television sets, you know. The only person ever to appear on Spitting Image live. Anyway, he asked me would I mind a job like Trevor, so I must admit I wouldn't mind it. You know, mind you, he's very laid back, Trevor. He's very calm and calculating sort of bloke. Mind you, when he sat next to Alan Hansen, he looks like the life and soul of the party. But I think I could make a favourable comment now and again. But women have figured very prominently in my life. I've had some great times with many. Mandy Rice Davis, Gilly Johnson, Lindy Field, the ex-Miss Barbados, who gave me a great time, as she also did with Ian Bolton, and thankfully she only told me something better. But all lovely, wholesome girls who, it has to be said, didn't spend a lot of time in the kitchen. Anyway. But women have, you know, picture the type of lad I was. I liked to drink, I loved a woman, enjoyed a nightclub, casino, and all the lovely resorts around Europe and afar. Now, my only 2 trips with England were Russia and behind the old Iron Curtain. Now, like I said before, you got quite excited if you saw a 60-watt bulb out there, and crumpet, forget it, it didn't exist. But thankfully, you know, when we moved on to Bulgaria, Sofia, the New York Ballet, they were staying in the same hotel, and I immediately had eyeball contact with this lovely ballerina, and I do believe that I had the chance of readjusting a tutor if I played my cards right. Now, we snatched a moment here and a moment there because she had a chaperone. Ladies and gentlemen, and I tell you, I kid you not when I tell you that this chaperone, she made Tommy Smith look handsome. You know? Alan Hansen looked happy, you know, unbelievable. I had a scheme of way of dealing with it with my 2 teammates, Emily Hughes and Kevin Keegan, and the plan was that on the very last night we were going to be staying at the same hotel. I was to go up to Ivana's room at 7:30 to share a few moments with her and a chaperone. And at 8 o'clock, when I was due to be leaving again, I wanted Emily and Kevin to crash in. And no matter what happened, get the chaperone down at the bar to leave me for an hour or so with my ballerina, okay? Plan was set. Set up at 7:30, knocked on the door. Chaperone answered, hello, how are you? As I walked in, everything seemed okay till I realised that there was no sign of Ivana. Suddenly, in broken English, because, you know, although this was a New York ballet, this chaperone, she came from Europe somewhere, she said to me, Ivana has had to go because tomorrow morning they're filming very early in Paris, so there I was, ladies and gentlemen, me and the chaperone. Now, she offered me a drink. Now, to give you a measure of how desperate I was, 2 weeks away, behind the old Iron Curtain, no crumpet, no casinos, nightclubs, nothing. After a couple of drinks, this chaperone, she didn't quite look as bad as I first thought. And I thought to myself, where did this... I thought to myself, Wordy, this is the only chance you're going to get a bit of skirt on this trip, so close your eyes, think of England, go for it. So I popped into the bathroom to freshen up, and as I came out of the bathroom, feeling quite excited about it, I saw the chaperone being dragged out of the room by Emily and Kevin, giving me the nod, the wink and the thumbs up. There I was with 4 bottles of Bulgarian bitter. Imagine just how happy I was. Anyway, true story that. But before I sit down now, people, they always ask who the real hard men of the game were in the 70s. Now there's several. There's Norman, Bite Your Legs Onto Leeds United. There was Dave Mackay, Tottenham Derby, another tremendous competitor. Ronnie Chopper Harris at Chelsea, although he didn't get the nickname for the same reason Slippery Christie did. But without doubt, the hardest man that I've ever used in the luckless Terry Butcher that made it that little bit special. Butch, by the way, is more commonly known in the game as the Douglas Bader of the First Division. Tremendous in the air, but crap on the deck. I remember the ball coming to me from a throw-in, flick on from Alan Garland, controlling it on my head, moving away from goal, chucking it onto my left foot 4 or 5 times before flicking it over mine and Terry Butcher's head. And as I've spun past him and the ball's dropped down, I struck the sweetest of volleys right in the far corner of Ipswich's net, past Paul Cooper's left hand. And as I turned to acknowledge the delight of the Bolton fans, I didn't actually feel sorry for Terry Butcher, but I couldn't resist saying to him, you know, Terry, you've got a much better view of that over there. Anyway, you've been absolutely brilliant tonight. Thanks for inviting me, everybody. You've been a super audience. You've got my hero to follow shortly in another 5 minutes. Or Georgie Best, the greatest football player. Absolutely great. Thank you very much.
Come on, give a nice round of applause there for the one and only Mr. Frankie Worthington. Come on there. Absolutely brilliant. That's our Frankie, a bit of a wanderer. He certainly is. He's been about. And it's absolutely a pleasure to have him down here once again. Right, we're going to give you about 10 minutes to go to the bar, get yourselves a drink, and then we'll get the man himself up, Mr. Georgie Best.
Nice to be with Frank again. Been a pal for many, many years, and I've just finished, as you probably know, I've been on tour with another pal of ours, Rodney Marsh, who's just gone back to America. And when we first started doing it, he said, you know, well, how are we going to handle it? And later on, if anybody wants to fire a few questions, have a little bit of a think, you can ask me, and you can ask me anything. Especially the ladies. By the way, has anyone thought I wasn't going to turn up tonight? Well, you can all piss off then. I must say, when Mike spoke to me and asked if I'd come along, he said to me, how about a fee for the evening, George? And I said, no, just make sure I've got enough to drink. So he called me back and said, for fuck's sake, take the fee, George. But you probably know that I've got a little bit of a reputation for liking to drink now and then. But you know, when we do nights like this, sometimes you get a little bit nervous. So what I did, I stopped off in a little pub down the road on the way here. So I went in, the barman came over and he said, yes, sir. I said, can I help you? I said, yeah, can I have a triple Jack Daniel, please, on the rocks? He said, certainly, sir. So he poured it out and I knocked it back. So I said, I'll have another one of those, please. Another triple Jack Daniels on the rocks. He said, certainly, sir. Poured another one out. Knocked it back, called him over, said, excuse me. I said, can I have another triple Jack Daniels on the rocks? He said, certainly, sir. He poured it out and topped it up a little bit. So I said to him, I said, now, you know, I shouldn't be doing this with what I've got. Oh, I said, what's that, sir? He said, £2. As I say, the old reputation that, by the way, did anyone see the Terry Wogan show I did? Yeah. Wish I'd have fucking seen it. But there were a couple of nice things come out of the Wogan show after I did it. Omar Sharif and I got engaged shortly after it. And I did get a couple of lovely phone calls from two great pals of mine, Oliver Reed and Alex Higgins. And they both said, Bestie, you fucking looked all right to us, pal. And Rodney and I, when we do the tour, and Frank and I do a lot of dinners together. And I think when we played, there's so many great characters around, and we love talking, you know, and the true stories about them. And it's terrific. And Frank mentioned Tommy Smith, and he was the hardest man I ever played against as well. I was asked recently as well, who was the dirtiest player I ever played against? And I said, without hesitation, Leeds United. But Smithy was great, and ugly as well. You remember Tommy Smith? He was ugly, wasn't he? Remember the spots and the pimples and all that? Didn't stop him going out though. He went to a nightclub in Liverpool once, and it was £5 a head to get in. Cost him 95 quid. And as I said, this doesn't go any further. Right? I spoke to Tommy recently and I said, you know, Tommy, I said, you were the dirtiest, ugliest bastard I ever played against. And then I put the phone down. We did a theatre a couple of weeks ago, Rodney and we did a little question and answer. And a guy asked me, he said, George, he said, you know, you must have been really surprised, you know, when you were a kid in Belfast, when you were 15, he said, you must have been really surprised to get that phone call in Belfast from the great Sir Matt Busby and the great Manchester United. You know, was it a big surprise? I said, the whole family were absolutely flabbergasted. I said, because we didn't have a phone. Then another chap put his hand up and he said, George, he said, if you had a chance, he said, that if you had a choice of going to bed with Miss World or scoring a goal in the European Cup final, which would you pick? And I said, I don't have to. Yeah, I said, I've done both, but only one in front of 100,000 people. And the cheeky so-and-so shouted out, how the fuck did you get 100,000 people in your bedroom? And we love characters in the game, and there's not too many of them around anymore. When we were around, not only the players themselves, but the managers were terrific, and the late great Bill Shankly. We've all got our favourite Shankly story, and mine was the one that told me about one of the Liverpool players. And what Shankly used to do, when you played against Liverpool, he used to try and belittle the opposition, run them down and gee his players up. So we were playing them there one Saturday down at Anfield, and he's got the lads in the dressing room before the game. He said, right lads, he said, we're playing Man United today. He said, they're going reasonably well. He said, but we're up there with them. It's you know, it's touch and go between the two of us. He said, so I'll run through the team quickly for you, give you a little idea. He said, Alex Stepney in goals, he's played for England. He said, but I think he's a bit weak on high crosses, he's got plenty of balls in the box. Shea Brennan, the right back, he says, all right foot, try and take him on the inside. He said, Tony Dunn, left back, very, very quick. He said, but again, he's all left foot, try and take him on the inside. Paddy Crerand, very, very deceptive. He's fucking slower than he looks. He said, Bill Foulkes, just a big ignorant centre half, no thumbs there. Nobby Stiles, dirty little blind bastard, no thumbs there. He said, on the right wing, John Connolly's playing today. On the left wing, John Aston. He said, they'll just knock it past you and try and beat you for pace. He said, let's go out and do this today, but I think that we can win this one. And all of a sudden, Emlyn Hughes is piped up as usual. Fucking twat. And then, oh, you know him. All of a sudden, he said, hang on, boss. He said, you haven't mentioned Dennis Law, Bobby Charlton, and George Best. He said, Christ, Emlyn, you can't beat three players. What fucking John forgot anything? And of course, when I left Manchester, I played under the great Sir Matt Busby, of course, God rest him, a great man. But the last manager I played under, when I was at Old Trafford, was Tommy Docherty, who was a lying bastard then. But sort of got better with age. I was asked once if I had to sum Tommy Docherty up in a sentence, what would it be? And I said, if he says good morning to you, go out and check the weather. But to be quite honest, the real reason I didn't like Tommy Docherty is that he didn't piss off with my wife. Well, not yet anyway. And of course, when Rodney, when we had a terrific side in the 60s and early 70s, Rodney, of course, was at the Main Road when Joe Mercer was in charge. And the second in command was Big Malcolm, great character, and also a good pal of ours. And we see quite a lot of them these days. I'm going to have a few champagnes with them. And gallons, that is. Lovely story about Big Malcolm. When he left Man City, he went to Crystal Palace. And when he was at Palace, he'd been there a short while and things weren't going too well. They had a big problem. And the problem was that they had 4 or 5 black players in the team and in the squad. And the black players wouldn't mix with the white players. They wouldn't pass to each other. They were always arguing. They went around in their own little cliques, and there was a lot of backstabbing going on. So he sat them down one day before they left for an away match. He got them in the dressing room, and he said, right, he said, I'm fed up with this. He said, I've just come from a great side, Manchester City. He said, if we're going to be a great side like Man City, this has got to change. He said, this black and white thing, he said, it's got to stop, all the arguing, you won't pass to each other. He said, I'm not having it anymore. He said, as far as I'm concerned, you're all green. No black, white, you're all green. He said, now let's get in the bus and go and win this game. The dark green's in the back. The And of course, Rodney was a great player, and I think he only played about 9 times for England. And I suppose one of the reasons, in one of the games, I think Sir Alf Ramsey was in charge, and before one of the games, he said to Rodney, he said, you know, Rodney, he said, you're going to have to change a little bit. He said, I want players with commitment. I want them to run around, he said, up and down the pitch, you know, hard work, graft, that's what it's all about. And Rodney didn't really play like that. And he said, if you don't work hard enough in this game, he said, I'm going to pull you off at half-time. He said, Christ, the Man City when he get a cup of tea. But I'm also asking, you know, about private life. You know, is it true? A young lady asked me the other night, is it true that slept with 3 Miss Worlds? And I said, yeah. It should have been 7, but I didn't turn up for 4 of them. And of course, another great dear friend of mine these days is the King, Denis Law, who was one of the greatest players I've ever had the pleasure to play with and against. He was a great character, and he came in '61 from Torino, and I'd just come over from Belfast, and he was great. And I think it was 1965. We just had a terrific season. We won the league, and Denis decided.